It's okay. 3, 2, 1. Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. Now we are with Nina. She's from England, and the topic today will be Alzheimer's. Hello Nina. How old are you, Nina?
I'm 75 at the moment and I'm 76 in June.
Do you have children?
I have two children. One is 50 this year and the other is 48 this year.
Are you having Alzheimer's?
I've been diagnosed with Alzheimer's, but I don't feel that I'm bad enough. I'm coping living on my own with my dog. Without him I wouldn't be very happy. I see my daughter almost every day, and my son comes, being an A&E doctor, he comes when he can.
How are you dealing with this? How you are dealing with this?
Trying to ignore it, I guess, is probably the easiest. I mean, I know I've got it, but I don't feel I've got it. I can walk with a stick, but that's because I'm a bit unsteady.
You feel healthy in all?
Yes, on the whole I feel perfectly all right, but I know that I'm a lot weaker than I was a few years ago. But that could just be age, not necessarily Alzheimer's. And I know I get confused sometimes and forget things all too often. I try and keep a calendar that tells me what I'm doing that week, things like that. Okay. And I've got my phone.
Do you have a daily routine?
I get up at about 7:15 because I walk my dog at 7:30. I feed him at 7:30 and I walk him about 7:45. And then I walk him again at 1:30ish after he's had his lunch, and then I walk him again in the afternoon sometimes if the weather's lovely, and it's always nice to go out. They don't have to be long walks. I do a circular walk from my house along the canal, round up the road and back again, and sometimes up to the playing field.
Wow, you
with the dog,
sound very
because
fit.
he loves the, I don't walk fast, unless he's pulling me, in which case I'm going very fast, but I do walk with a stick for extra protection if he wants to attack another dog, because he can be very defensive, bless him, and if it's a male it's quite possible he might. He has been known to be the one who starts being aggressive and barking and what have you. So I just carry my stick as much to walk with as I do to protect myself from, and to stop Buddy, because I can hook it around his neck and pull him back if I need to.
In the evening, before you go to sleep, what is your routine?
What you mean? I walk him at about, he has his supper at 7:30, so I walk him about 7:45. I usually have something to eat around about the same time Buddy does. When I get back from walking him, might have a cup of hot chocolate, or if I want to drink I will have something, but not coffee, not at that time of night. And then I would go to bed, read for a while, and then turn the light out and go to sleep. I sleep pretty well, I think.
Okay. Are you having support from your family?
Yes, my daughter's very supportive when she can be. She works for herself, so I don't expect her to be hanging on my every word. She lives just down the road from me, and my son comes to visit me as often as he can, according to his schedule in the hospital.
Okay. Are you okay living in your house by yourself?
Well, I've got the dog, so I don't consider I'm by myself.
Well, yes.
My neighbours are lovely. Couldn't ask for better neighbours, and further down the street, because I live in the end house of that, more or less the end house of that street. I know a few of them. They're happy to say hello, how are you, sort of thing, but we don't socialise a lot. But I do see my next door neighbours a lot, and I think they are keeping an eye on me. And if they are, I'm very grateful.
Is something there that is worries you, currently worries you?
Not really. I don't like the winter evenings. I must admit that I've had a bit of trouble with teenagers, because I'm on the edge of the canal. They walk up past me, they go past me to school and things like that. And one evening I had an egg thrown at my window It just missed the window and hit the wall, but I heard it and I went out and there was a lot of giggling and they ran away. I don't know who they were. I can't remember whether I complained to the school or not. I might have done, but there's no knowing whether it's them or the teenagers from the other schools around. You know.
Yes, yeah. I
think I did tell the police. I did tell the
you?
police about it, yes, because it's scary for an old person like me. Even if I didn't have Alzheimer's, I would be frightened if somebody threw an egg at my window, and because and they're giggling outside, and you never know what they're going to do next. I'm afraid. If I'd known when I bought the house that I would live this long, I might not have bought it so close to the canal. I might have bought one somewhere else, a bit further away, where not on a main road or anything like that. You know, for being sensible. But I wasn't old.
So who knows?
Well, I didn't consider I was old when I bought it, and I wanted to live near my family.
How was your childhood?
Fantastic.
What do you remember then?
Well, I was born in Coventry. I lived in, I had my mum and my dad, and I also had an older sister. And then later on we had a brother about 8 years later. I think I was 8 and Prue was 10 when he was born. We lived in Coventry because it was 48 and 46 when Prue was born and I was born post-war, and John was born in 56, so by that time all the war things had sort of calmed down a bit. And he was a merchant navy captain, so he was on, well, I'm not sure if he was a captain, but he was a merchant navy officer, and he was on the convoys coming over from America with food, which was always risky, but he was lucky. They survived everything. And he and Mum, I can't remember when they got married, but don't think they were married in the wartime. I think they were married post-war. And then, as I say, my older sister was born in 46 and I was born in 48. And we lived in Coventry for a while because my grandparents, both sets of grandparents, lived in Coventry. And then at some point, because of when he changed his job from being a merchant navy seaman to being a Trinity House pilot, he had to go down to Hampshire and the Isle of Wight. And they started off in the Isle of Wight, and they were allowed to bring ships in between the Isle of Wight and the mainland, but only up to a certain point. They couldn't go in and dock them anywhere, either in Portsmouth or Southampton. They could only go up as far as the edge of the isle.
How was your adolescence?
Fantastic.
Fantastic.
Yes, I mean, my sister and I quarrelled a lot, I think, but we had a wonderful life on the Isle of Wight. We went to school at Presentation Convent in Ryde. I don't know if it's still there because I don't know how many nuns are still around. Because Mum was Catholic, so therefore we were Catholic. And as I say, Prue was 2 years older. We had a lovely life. We used to walk from school in the summer, walk down through Ryde, down the main road, shopping centre it would be, but it was cool. It was the most important road in Ryde, and then we would get to the bottom of the hill down there, and that was where the bit of port was, where the ferries came in, and there was a lovely walk all the way along from Ryde right through to Seaview. I don't know, about 3 miles perhaps, I don't know, but we used to walk along in the summer. We would walk along the path that was raised above the sea. It didn't have a wall between it and the sea, but it was the top of the wall, so to speak, and then it had another wall up to whatever land was above there. But we used to walk along there, a little group of us, and we were very well behaved because we knew that if we fell off we would be in big trouble. Not necessarily hurt, but still in big trouble from the families. And we had a beach hut down there, and Mum would be down there with my baby brother, and we would be down there after school, and we would go swimming because the beach sloped. It was mostly pebbly, but it sloped, and when the tide went out, you could walk for about almost a mile, I would think, out towards into the Solent. And my dad took us down that far out once or twice, but it wasn't very much to see, really. And there's a lot of seaweed and dead crabs and things like that, I suppose. I can't really remember. And we used to pick up shells and things on the beach. Compare shells. I mean, we had a lovely time, and Mum would be down at the beach hut on the up on the greeny bit. It was called Puckpool Park behind us, and they had swings and roundabouts, just the normal sort of thing that a park for children to play in. But the only thing about it I hated was the teenage boys, because they teased us.
Oh.
And they used to hang from the swings almost upside down, scraping their heads on the ground, and, you know, dare us to do it and things like that. But I don't know whether we did, I can't remember. I think I might have done it once, but it probably hurt when I hit my head on the rocky bits underneath the swings. But the Puckpool Park was a lovely place to be, and the mums would be down at the beach huts, just not very far away. But,
what have you learned from this life?
Enjoy yourself when you're young if you can, but don't do anything very stupid. And do what your parents tell you. If they say, look, don't do that, don't do it. And ask them nicely if you want something. You know, please may we go? Because again, they appreciate that. Keep your friends with you if you can, because it's lovely to have friends. I mean, I haven't seen some of them since I moved up to Yorkshire, but I don't, and I used to send Christmas cards to them, but I've lost my address book, so I don't know where it's gone. I don't know anybody's addresses anymore. I can't remember them. They're not in my phone. I have kept in touch if I could, but mostly they don't get in touch with me. So we're all in our late 40s.
Hope they are watching us and they will know that you are looking for them.
I have no idea what they watch, but if it's a daily programme, then maybe they might watch it and see and say, oh, I remember her, she was horrible.
I don't think so. If you had the power to change something in the world, what it will be?
Try and stop war. And teenagers, you know, make teenagers really take into consideration that other people are people too, particularly if they're old or younger than them, and that as a teenager or a young woman or man, you are not the be-all and end-all of their world. You might be to your parents, but you are not to other people. You should respect other people of any age, even if it's only just standing sideways when they walk past, and saying good morning, or smiling at the children or something. But you do have to be a bit careful with children, because you don't want to be thought to be a...
What love means for you?
Love? Well, there's all sorts of loves. There's loving your family, loving your friends, loving your lover, loving your husband. It means all sorts of things to everybody. And it's important. Some of it, not necessarily the out of marriage love, but the marriage love and the children and the family love is very important in your life, I think. It certainly has been to me. And I hope it has been to my family.
Yeah, very sure. What's your favorite thing to do every day?
My necessity thing is to walk the dog 3 times a day at least.
Did you enjoy it?
Well, I do enjoy it, yes. Day. I let him off along the canal and in the park, but I can't let him off anywhere else because it's not safe because of the roads. And if there was a dog on the other side, he's very protective and he doesn't like big dogs because he's small-ish. and he just feels protective, I think, and so I do have to be careful. But I enjoy walking, even if it's raining a bit like it was this morning. But I don't like it when it's heavy rain, but I still do my duty and put my raincoat on and take him out for his regular walks, because
whatever it is,
that's the fairest thing to do when you've got an animal that is virtually under your control the whole time. You've got to be aware that he has needs too, like peeing and pooing and eating.
Yes, basic. What do you think a child needs?
Love. It needs reassurance, because particularly when they get to school, all sorts of things can make them worry. So I think the main thing that they need is love and reassurance, all the way through their lives even.
Even though when they are adults. Do you read?
Oh yeah.
How often?
All the time.
All the time. Why you love books?
I was a librarian, but even when I was a little girl, I adored the Enid Blyton books. I don't know if you know Enid Blyton, but they were children, Famous Five and the Secret Seven, and the Secret Seven were sort of detective-y children who liked to do things like that. And the Famous Five had adventures and did things that made them, well, they were called the Famous Five. I don't know whether, I can't remember all the adventures, but I read them avidly. I mean, there must have been loads of them. And we had a good school library everywhere. I went each school I went to, so I was able to use books from there. And then I went to library school and became a qualified librarian.
For how long did you work as a...
Well, I can't remember.
No, it's okay.
I went to library school when I was, instead of university, I went to library school because I didn't think I was clever enough to go to university. And I loved books and reading. Oh, sorry, that was there. It's probably going to rattle. So I just thought, well, why not be a librarian? So, and of course, if you go to the library school, you learn, you can either choose to be a children's librarian or an adult librarian. It's children and schools in my day, I suppose it still is now, or an adult librarian and work with adults and books, or a scientific library where you're helping the people in the whatever they've chosen to do.
So did you read for children's?
Oh, I went for children, of course I did, because they're easy to read.
Great.
And anyway, it was fun. We used to go into the classes with a big box, into the school with a big box of books, because in those days all the schools had a library, and they borrowed books from the school library service in Southampton area. I think they had them everywhere. They must have had them everywhere, but whether they do or not now, I have no idea. And we would introduce the books to the children by reading an exciting bit and then stopping it and saying, well, I'm sorry, but if you want to know what happens next, you have to borrow the book. It'll be in your school library as soon as possible. And you might have to put your name down for it, so the poor teachers afterwards would probably have a list. If you were lucky. But I loved it. I met some good friends at university. Well, I didn't go to university, it was a library school, but it was in Aberystwyth and it was affiliated to the university as well. So we were able to use the university libraries, and of course there were loads of students about, so we had friends there and things like that. You know, it was a lovely place to go to. I really enjoyed it was only a 2-year course, but I loved it.
Okay. Thank you very much for this lovely interview. I wish you the best. And we will see you very soon, I guess.
And the only other thing I can add is keep your children reading.
Yes.
Or keep reading to them, to make them and leave them in the story at the crux, you know. So
definitely.
I'll have to read it myself because mummy hasn't got time.
Thank you very much for this advice, and please, it's a very good one.
Well, libraries are closing all over the country now, which is devastating.
Oh,
I don't know why, but apparently they are. So, here we go. It's life, I suppose. Life in the, where are we? 23rd?
2024.
Yeah.
No worries at all. Okay, thank you very much for enjoy us. I hope you have a great experience about this interview, and see you in the next one. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.